Big thanks go out to Taiwa for supporting today's video via Patreon. Lord Windgrace versus Chatterfang. We have access to all three colours on turn 2 with a Lotus Cobra. Yeah, not an incredible hand, but we've got mana at least. We will keep it. Each of us just playing out a land on our turn 1. We draw into a Scape Shift. Let's, play out the Lotus Cobra here. Urborg from our opponent, so we've got access to as much black mana as we like. Alright, Evolving Wilds gets us 2 mana from playing and cracking this. So play the Evolving Wilds, make some mana with the Lotus Cobra. Sacrifice the Evolving Wilds, noteworthy that we could tap that for mana thanks to the Urborg. Play in a forest to that, make another green mana. Then it can be crop rotation, sacrificing the forest. And then that can be an Ancient Tomb, which we can tap down for 2 mana. Actually don't need to, do we? Because the Lotus Cobra will trigger again. I'm getting out the Lord Windgrace here. But we could also get down Amulet of Vigour. Yeah, so let's tap the Ancient Tomb down for a couple of mana there, and we'll go for the Lord Windgrace. Minus down on the Windgrace, we can bring back Evolving Wilds and the Forest straight away. Each of those triggers the Lotus Cobra, so that can be... we'll just make Rakdos mana, it doesn't really matter. Play out the Crucible of Worlds, and we'll play out the Amulet of Vigour as well, and I'll crack the Evolving Wilds towards the end of our opponent's turn. Not going to swing in with Lotus Cobra, just in case our opponent gets down a hasty creature, although I doubt it in those colours. Down comes our opponent's Chatterfang, noteworthy that that does have Forest Walk, and we do control forests. So just crack the Evolving Wilds now, and we'll fish out a Mountain, I think. Mountain gets untapped by the Amulet of Vigour, it doesn't really matter. Alright, we draw into a Blood Crypt, so let's discard the Blood Crypt. Draw into Omnath Locus of Rage and a Nature's Law. Play out the Strip Mine. Make green with that. We can actually probably get out Omnath here, can't we? Okay, our opponent just decides to scoop there. I think they assumed that we were going to go for the Strip Mine, and certainly wasn't going to make that play because I was worried about them going for the scoop, but yeah, apparently that didn't stop them. Lord Windgrace versus Yasharn this time. With plenty of mana, we can get down a turn 2 Tireless Provisioner, so yeah, I'll actually keep that. Our opponent shocks down a Temple Garden and plays out a Findhorn Elves. That's a Toxic Deluge for us, so maybe can hold off on the Tireless Provisioner. Best get down a tapped green source anyway. Utopia Sprawl going on to the Temple Garden. And we've got a Sol Ring as well. A Tech Edge we draw into, so are we likely to go for a board wipe anytime soon? Yeah, we'll go for the Tireless Provisioner anyway. Might encourage our opponent to play out their commander next turn. Alright, and now they've got their commander into play, we actually can't do anything with Toxic Deluge anyway. So Skull Clamp going on to the Yasharn. We draw into Reshape the Earth. So I'll just take advantage of the fact that we're not doing anything else this turn, play out a Bojuka Bog. Make a treasure token on landfall with that, and should be able to get out our commander next turn, although a fetch isn't going to be all that useful to us. The 5-3 comes barreling in. We might want to use Tireless Provisioner to block and protect our commander, so we'll take the 5 commander damage here. Not doing anything else there, 4 cards in hand and passing over to us. We get ourselves a Sol Ring. We'll be able to... They make a land next turn, we'll be able to blow this up with the Tech Edge. Take some life to the Ancient Tomb and we'll go for the Sol Ring. Can't make use of our treasure token, unfortunately. We'll play out the Blood Crypt and shock that in. Make ourselves another treasure token. Play out our commander, we'll go for the plus and going to discard the Glacial Chasm. That draws us 2 cards, which is a Sakura Tribe Elder and an Avenger of Zendikar. They get into a 4th land, so we can get rid of the Temple Garden next turn if we want to. Swinging in with the Yasharn again, swinging in towards us. So I will block with the Tireless Provisioner this time and make them recast their commander. They draw 2 cards to the Skull Clamp, so they go up to 6 in hand. And then playing out a Grasp of Fate, which we don't have any removal for at the moment, so we're just going to have to put our commander back into the command zone. And then deciding to Skull Clamp their remaining creature, so they're at 7 cards in hand here. And then able to throw down a Garruk's Uprising, as well as a Miri's Guile. Okay, Damnation might come in handy. Let's play and crack the Tech Edge here, getting rid of 2 mana for them. So if they don't have a land to play next turn, which they very likely will with Miri's Guile available to them, they won't be able to get down their commander next turn. Could have played Reshape the Earth there, maybe that would have been a better play while their commander's not around. I think I'll go for the Lord Windgrace here, because I don't think we're going to have to worry about haste or anything. So Lord Windgrace back into play again. We'll go for the minus on that straight away. And we'll pull out a Windswept Heath and a Tech Edge. Crack the Windswept Heath, and I'll go for Sakura Tribalkai here. Sakura Tribalkai going to be able to ramp us ahead a little bit now that their commander's gone down. Not sure why they gave up on their commander so easily. Seem very, very eager to draw with the Skull Clamp. Well, everything's a forest now. We do have a lot of green pips, so that is actually relevant to us. Exploration coming into play for additional land drops. And they get another basic down. Beast Within goes on to our commander. I think the damage has been done there pretty much, so not particularly worried about that. So now we crack the Sakura Tribalkai. Might as well make that a red source now that the Yavamaya's in play. And there we see a Renin 7. So do we continue to slow roll here? Suppose we could play out Kodama into Avenger of Zendikar next turn and get the Renin 7 down for free. And getting down Kodama encourages more removal from our opponent as well. So play out Kodama of the East Tree and we'll see if our opponent has any spot removal to use on that. Mirari's Gal continuing to stack the top 3 cards. Now seeing the Yasharn back into play again. So searching for a basic forest or plains, they go for a snow-covered forest. Yeah, surprised they didn't go for a plains there because of the Yavamaya. Drawing a card from the Garruk's Uprising as well. 4 cards in hand. I think they might have played a land there as well. Anyway, down comes Nissa, Vastwood Seer. If they've got another land drop to make here, then they can flip that round this turn. Apparently not going to play that this turn, so we could go for a board wipe, I suppose, but I think we're best sticking with the Kodama of the East Tree plan. We've got a fetch that we can't crack thanks to the Yasharn, but let's play out the Avenger of Zendikar anyway. Thanks to our opponent's Yavamaya, we will be able to tap the fetch down for mana anyway. So we'll put Kodama of the East Tree on the stack first. Avenger of Zendikar going to make us a bunch of plant tokens. And each of those will trigger. So Kodama of the East Tree going to put out the land for us. Might be able to get some lands off the Renin 7. So could be worth not making that as a land drop for the turn. Avenger of Zendikar triggers on the landfall, of course. We got 7 plant tokens, now our 1/2s. All the other triggers fizzle because they are 0 CMC things that came in, but this was a 7 drop, so we can get something less than that in, which is the Renin 7, getting that in for free. And then we can just plus on the Renin 7 here, see how many lands we can grab. Okay, got a couple there, including a Dark Depths. So might as well play out the Dark Depths here, because either land is going to be a forest anyway, plus we get both of them out thanks to the Kodama. So more plus counters on the plants, another free land drop thanks to the Kodama. So these are now 3/4s. And we're pretty much set up for Reshape the Earth next turn. So we'll swing in with Kodama of the East Tree, try and deal the first bit of damage to our opponent, deciding not to double block and get rid of the Kodama. Playing the Snow Forest that they went for last turn, so Nissa Vastwood Seer will flip round. Then plussing on her straight away, they grab themselves a Horizon Canopy off the top. Skull Clamp onto their commander again. And then a Day of Judgment, so yeah, just looking to sacrifice their own commander once more. This will open us up to crack the Arid Mesa. So drawing 2 cards to the Skull Clamp again. Then playing Kura, the Boundless Sky, which triggers the Garruk's Uprising to draw them a card. Playing another land in snow-covered plains. Skull Clamp onto the Dragon. And let's crack Arid Mesa at the end of the turn. Throw down a Badlands, because that can be a Jund land for us. And then, yeah, it's probably best getting rid of this just in case they've got swords or path or anything. So we'll do that at their end step. Okay, exploration pretty useless to us. Going to make a Tree Folk token here. Power and toughness will be equal to the number of lands we control. And it is a reacher for the Kura. So that currently is a 9/9. It's about to get a whole lot bigger than that though. So playing Reshape the Earth, we get to search for 10 land cards and put them into play tapped. Cabal Coffers and Urborg, an obvious place to start. Throw in the Valakut as well. Thespian Stage for the Dark Depths combo. Field of the Dead. And then we'll get as many mountains into play as we can. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we'll actually trigger the Valakut already. So Vesuva comes down, we'll make that a copy of a Blood Crypt, I think. Not going to pay the life for it to come into play tapped. Not going to pay life into any of these. So we get 4 Valakut triggers there. We don't have all of our lands being mountains here. We do get a bunch of Field of the Deads though. So just going to point the lightning bolt straight at my opponent. In fact, we'll finish off this dragon as well. Why not deal some to the Nissa? That will survive at 1 loyalty. So they do get a couple of draws from Skullclamp. They can search their library for 3 lands, put them into hand as well. 2 of which they can play thanks to exploration. Oh, I thought I clicked Gaia's Cradle in all that. Apparently we didn't get down the Gaia's Cradle. Oh well, we've got Cabal Coffers. Might as well throw in the exploration and we will pass at that thanks to having no haste. Treefolk token is now a 1919 by the way. And the lands they'd shooted up, yeah, they didn't really have any decent lands matter stuff, just a strip mine which could be relevant. But we can fish things out with our commander next turn anyway. Revealing to us with Nissa an Archon of Justice. And it's a Finale of Glory. They managed to get up to 10 as well, so making a bunch of Flying Angel tokens. And, yeah. All of those drew our opponent cards as well, thanks to the Garruk's Uprising, so they're up to 19 in hand. They do not have an infinite hand size, playing out their own Arid Mesa. So we probably need to take advantage of actually being able to play the Toxic Deluge next turn. Surprised we didn't see Strip Mine from our opponent this turn. Not equipping the Skull Clamp could be telling, so we could force our opponent into a Swords or Path by swinging in the Treefolk directly at them. So obviously discarding some stuff at the end of the turn. Arcane Signet, a Rex Sage, Wild Growth, Rishkar's Expertise, some lands, some ramp, Swiftfoot Boots, Oracle of Muldaya, and a Knight of Autumn as well. We draw into a forest, probably one of the most useless lands we could draw into. Gonna plus on the Wrenn and 7, revealing just 1 land, and it is another forest. So like I said before, we'll take advantage of the fact that we can play the Toxic Deluge here. It also has our Treefolk survive. So put 4 into the Toxic Deluge, that will wipe out everything apart from the Treefolk. So the Treefolk goes down to a 15-15. Let's make 19 mana from the Cabal Coffers, and I'm going to get down my commander now, because I want to buff the Treefolk up as much as possible. In comes Lord Windgrace once again, and we will... Do we want to draw actually? Probably a good idea to take advantage of the fact that we've got surplus lands in hand. So discard a forest, draw into an Obnixilis the Fallen, and a Sylvan Library. So play out the Obnixilis with all this mana, play Sylvan Library as well, and then drop a land that will trigger Field of the Dead and the Obnixilis. Obviously going to point the Lightning Bolt from Obnixilis at our opponent. And now unless our opponent's got removal, they're in a pretty tough spot here. I mean, we likely get them on the Dark Depths next turn, but Obnixilis is actually a pretty big threat for them if the Treefolk manages to land. So it looks like they do have something. That is a Swords to Plowshares, waiting to use it, because if we'd gone in at the Nissa, they probably would have left that alone. We go back up to 34 life thanks to that though. So they need to hope that they have a Path to Exile, because this thing is indestructible. Reprobation goes onto the Obnixilis, that's a good way of dealing with that one. They could use a Strip Mine and force us to crack the Dark Depths here, and then use something on the token. Now instead going after the Field of the Dead, fair enough. But yeah, it might be a good idea to get rid of this so that we're forced to put the token in play, and then they can remove the token during this turn. So as it stands now, we're going to do it on their end step where there's likely nothing they can do about it. A Sun Titan maybe for the Strip Mine. They draw a card to the Garruk's Uprising. That's done some work for them this game. And they can still get a flyer in the way in Archon of Justice. Sun Titan instead goes on the Reclamation Sage, so probably going after the Sylvan Library. It's probably a good idea now that we've just been given a load of life. And yep, that's exactly the target. Enlightened Tutor, going to put an enchantment or artifact on top of the library. And it is Song of the Dryads, which is actually pretty bad news if that goes on Lord Windgrace. They've used up all their mana for the Archon though. Skullclamp goes on the Rex Sage, which will kill it straight away. And yep, they are enchanting the Lord Windgrace. So they had a bunch of answers there. Ticking up the Nissa will reveal a Noxious Revival. And just deciding to hold back their Sun Titan with Trample, we will go for the combo here. Finally finish this game off, I think. So Thespian Stage becomes a copy of Dark Depths. We choose which one to keep. We want to keep the one that is Thespian Stage because it doesn't have any counters on it. And that will trigger the Dark Depth straight away thanks to it having no counters. Sacrifice that and create a 2020 flying indestructible. And our opponent's tapped out now, so pretty sure there's nothing they can do. We draw into Azusa with no cards in hand. So we'll go straight through to the attack step. Swing in at our opponent. And there we go, managed to get the victory. Have a look at our opponent's hand. We know about Archon of Justice, Constant Mists, they could have held up mana for. Journey to Nowhere, Shield of the Oversoul, Return of the Wildspeaker. Yeah, they had means of getting round us there because we were really starting to run out of juice, especially with all the removal that they got into. But yeah, we were playing with our food a little bit for the sake of the video. Could have gone for Reshape the Earth a lot sooner than that, but I think this panned out to be a much better game from a viewing perspective. Let me know if you all agree. Big thank you to my opponent, massive thank you to the patrons for supporting the channel. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.